Today, we have learned the names of 2 people found dead in a dorm room Friday at the University of Colorado in Colorado Springs. Police identified the victims as Samuel Knopp and Celie Montgomery. Police say Knopp was a 24-year-old from Parker, a student at the university. Montgomery was 26 years old. She was not a student.
Yeah, a very tragic story. Police say both had been shot. Their deaths are also being investigated as homicides. Police say it was isolated and not random, but they still do not have any suspect information. The University of Colorado at Colorado Springs will not have classes tomorrow. Instead, there will be what's called a day of healing. At 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, there will be a healing circle on campus in Berger Hall where people can come together and mourn. Then at 2 o'clock, the community is invited to a healing walk. It'll start at the Roaring Fork Dining Hall and end at the Mountain Lion statue in El Pomar Plaza, where university leaders will then speak.
Now is the time to lean on one another, to reach out to one another, to grieve, and to borrow strength from each other. Our community of faculty, staff, students, alumni, and supporters will support one another in this time of tragedy.
And tomorrow, the university will have 3 community spaces open with food and support from 9 o'clock to 2. There will also be a walk-in counseling at the campus wellness center.
Turning our attention now to your forecast, here's a live look outside over Denver this Sunday afternoon. All that weekend snow slowly starting to melt away. And good news, more sunshine on tap for us this week.
Yeah.
Once again, Corey, it's the weekend snow, the weekday sunshine. The pattern continues.
That has been the pattern, but you know, it's actually, we're going to change that up this weekend next. So we're going to be leaving the weekends alone for a change. But you're right, it's starting to melt away out here, and we're just getting things started down here in the Denver metro area. We're going to crank it up another notch as far as the heat goes tomorrow. But take a look up on the high country right now. You can see maybe a few snowflakes fluttering through the screen there at Copper Mountain. They had on and off snow showers throughout the afternoon here, and they will overnight as well, maybe 1 to 4 inches there as they just close the resort up for today. But down here in the Denver metro area, we do have those clouds roll in from that same system that's affecting the high country with scattered showers. It's 47 degrees right now at Denver International Airport. Really a pleasant day, on and off clouds and sunshine throughout the day. As we go through the night, here's what your forecast in Denver looks like. We're going to probably clear things out around midnight, 1 a.m. And that could bring the temperatures down below freezing, but there is a chance that they stay above that even despite that clearing. Here is the forecast lows for tomorrow. These are pretty mild here. I think we will just drop down below freezing here in the Denver area and most of the eastern plains, and a mild morning as well in the high country. We've got almost double digits for a low in Gunnison for tomorrow. So we're going to be talking about some heat that's coming up for tomorrow, probably the warmest air of the season so far, of 2024 so far. I'll address that coming up in the full forecast.
Corey, thank you. This week, state lawmakers plan to introduce the first of 2 bills regulating Colorado's funeral home industry. This comes after a series of funeral home operators being accused of mishandling the bodies entrusted into their care. The first bill would continue regulating funeral homes as a business entity. Basically, are they paying their taxes? Lawmakers say this is not anything new, but the second of the 2 bills would make a bigger impact, requiring the people who work in funeral homes to be licensed. Funeral home directors, morticians, crematorium operators, all of them would now have education requirements and have to follow industry standards. Lawmakers tell us Colorado is the only state in the country that does not already require this.
And what is it in Colorado that says that we can be the place where criminals seem to think this is okay? I mean, it's abuse of a corpse.
These bills come on the heels of several high-profile cases in Colorado. Just on Friday, we learned the former operator of Apollo Funeral and Cremation Services in Jefferson County now facing charges. Denver police say investigators found cremated remains of at least 30 people in a Denver house where he had been living and then was later evicted. Police say they also found the body of a 62-year-old woman in a hearse in the backyard. On the western slope, out in Montrose, the owners of Sunset Mesa Funeral Home were sentenced to prison after they were accused of stealing and selling hundreds of bodies. And in southern Colorado, law enforcement recovered nearly 200 bodies from the Return to Nature Funeral Home in Penrose. Families thought their loved ones had been cremated or buried.
And I hope by requiring licensure, we will never hear stories like Apollo or Return to Nature or Sunset Mesa, that those cases coming out of Denver, Penrose, and Montrose will be a thing of the past. That's our goal.
Representative Soper there plans to introduce both pieces of legislation in the next few weeks.
We've all met those couples who like to do everything that their spouse does, right? They go on they go painting, they go, on hikes. One couple in Denver decided to undergo surgery and give a life-saving gift.
It's one way to bond and spend time together. As 9 News reporter Rachel Krause explains, now this couple's helping make it easier for others to do the same.
For some, the idea of donating an organ is tough. For Chelsea Barker,
it just was like, oh, well, this is really a no-brainer.
She'd been considering it most of her life.
When I was a kid, my grandfather had a form of blood cancer, and a bone marrow transplant would have been really great, but he unfortunately wasn't a good candidate. But it did really plant the seed, and I was like, oh, transplant, that's really interesting that you can do that for someone.
After she and her husband Matt moved to Denver, she found a transplant center near her at Advent Health Porter and began the testing to see if she could donate.
By the time you get to the point where the hospital says, yes, you are a candidate, you know so much about your own health and your own body, and so it's a really easy, it was for me a really easy yes.
Chelsea inspired me. So she donated her kidney first. And I got to watch her go through that process and go through it with her as her support, as a passenger. And my ultimate conclusion was, wow, this is really actually easy, considering you're giving up an organ.
11 months after Chelsea donated her kidney to a total stranger, Matt did the same.
Once Chelsea recovered, it was an easy choice.
Both recovered quickly, ready to resume their normal lives. And Chelsea says Advent Health Porter had programs to make organ donation easy for her.
I didn't have 2+ weeks of PTO in my bank just to take off, or more if my body needed it. And so I was able to take advantage of some protections that were offered through a program that Porter participates in, but not every donor has that available to them.
She's hoping to see programs and resources expanded to make it easier for Coloradoans who want to donate. Last month, a bill was introduced in the legislature that would put protections for organ donors into state law, like prohibiting employers from discriminating against organ donors and establishing a voucher program to make it easier for a donor's loved ones to get a donation themselves down the road.
Being able to make it easier for folks to say yes means that more people will live because more people will be able to become kidney donors. And I'm so proud to be able to help with that in any small way.
Chelsea says her grandfather passed away years ago before he got the chance to see her donate a kidney. She says through her donation and now their work to help future donors, she's able to really keep his memory alive.
I'm sure he'd be so proud.
Selfless couple, really cool.
Truly, yeah, to
Really
be able to
cool.
give of yourself to a total stranger.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Great
awesome.
story.
Thank
Great
you.
Story.